Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, I should say. I don't know if this will help any with my lighting. I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's not like I'm running some TV show or something, right? I ain't on big network TV and doing some kind of fancy production here. One day, maybe, you know. Just because I'm almost 50 years old don't mean I can't dream and can't aspire to do something bigger. Not for the sake of me to be famous or anything, but for the sake of spreading a positive message, telling people about my life experience and sharing with people my connection to God, the divine, the source, of all creation, the creator, Big Kahuna, my boss. I do say that. Anyway, I'm going to read from, as you can see, the book is in separate pieces here where the cover had came off early on a few weeks ago when I started reading this again. But I'm going to read from Random Acts of Kindness. I flipped through a few stories today. I passed on one. I'll end up sharing them all eventually, but I'm just kind of going through them and deciding what feels right for the day that I'm in and what I want to share. This may be the only thing I do today. I did do a little short stop animation. If you go to the short sections, you should see it. It's a little robot from Jabba the Hutt's palace in Return of the Jedi. One of the robots that was torturing droids and stuff. He's just walking. That's about all it is. It's just a few seconds. You wouldn't believe how many photos it takes just to make like a 15 or 20 second little stop motion, to make an action figure. Just walk from like maybe here to here. That may take 20, 30 pictures, depending on how far you're wanting it to move, how much you're wanting it to do in the shots. I'm learning. I'm practicing. I do have to get better equipment eventually. I got a phone. Right now I'm recording on my tablet to save some of my data on the phone, but, it's unlimited anyway, but it's probably going to slow down here in the next day or two. Anyway, here we go. Kindness is not always a straight line. I was traveling in Central America with a friend, and we were looking for a post office. We were standing on the corner and did not know what the word in Spanish for post office was. Some kind soul could see we were confused and came up to us. We tried to explain what we were looking for, and he said, "Oh, yeah," and led us with our backpacks on in the middle of the heat of the day. Down all these little crooked streets. It seemed like we walked for miles. Finally, he pointed us toward a building without any name on it. But when we went in, it turned out not to be the post office. When we came out and were again standing around looking lost, someone else came up and asked if she could help. She knew where the post office was. Again, we headed off, and she guided us to another building, which also had no sign and which also turned out not to be the post office. At this point, we decided that even though we didn't know where we were not going to listen to anybody else. But then another person came up and said, "I can help you." We said, "No, thank you." But he was very insistent. He actually grabbed me by the hand and dragged me through the streets. Circling around, we came back to the original corner where we had been standing when we began. The stranger pointed across the street, and there was the post office. Okay, I don't know if I personally say that. I don't know if I mark that down as a random act of kindness. It just happened to be somebody on the third time around saying, "Hey, I can help you," and grabbing you and saying, "There's where you're looking for." Now, how this third person, after two other people, did they overhear these people talking? I don't know. It is still a cool story. They were off in some other place and trying to find the post office and couldn't find it. Two people did try to help them. They were in the wrong place. The third person got them there, or actually, it turns out that they were never that far from the post office in the first place. Imagine that. Synchronicity is funny, isn't it? It happens all the time. It happens quite often with me. But I wanted to read you these two quotes here. underneath the first page, let us not be satisfied with just giving money. Money is not enough. Money can be got, but they need your hearts to love them. So spread your love everywhere you go, Mother Teresa. Let us not be satisfied with just giving money. Money is not enough. Money can be got, but they need your hearts to love them. So spread your love everywhere you go, Mother Teresa. I said that again. I just had to reread that. There's something about that quote that's not making a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, I see where she's saying spread your love everywhere you go, but it is good to give more than just money. Although in this world we live in, giving somebody money sometimes is very much appreciated, even to a bum that's just going to drink it away. And remember, when you give somebody something, you're giving it to them. Don't be trying to put a stipulation on what you're giving to them. You give it to them, you walk away, you're done. You know, and if you got a relation with the person, you can see how they use the gift you gave them. But I mean, once the gift is given, it's ultimately up to the person that received it to do what they want with. Whether it be money, food, whatever. I've always went by that. If I want to help somebody out, I'm going to help them out. Now, whether I like what they're going to be doing or not is irrelevant. If I genuinely am going to help somebody, then I should help them out of the kindness of my own heart. Don't you think? I mean, I try to do that. And anyway, that's just a ramble. A little bit. And then here's another quote. It is good to have an end to journey. Wait. It is good to have end to journey toward. Wait. It is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. Ursula K. Le Guin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Leguin is their last name. Ursula, I do know I'm pronouncing that right. I like that quote. It makes sense to me. I'm not saying the Mother Teresa quote doesn't make sense. It just, somehow, the way it's worded, I don't understand why. Money is not enough. Money can be got. Well, of course money can be got. I don't know. There's something about the wording of that first quote that I'm not particularly fond of. I don't know. Call me kooky, crazy. I am a little bit. I am a man, a spirit in a man's body, going by Gray Cloud, Mr. Cloud, Sage of the Eternal Moment. Originally was given a different name at birth. I've mentioned my original legal name several times. I don't think I have to keep repeating it over and over and over and over because I don't use it in my daily life. That being said, that brings up a small discussion of, what I mentioned the other day. So, a few people at church are choosing to call me by my legal name because they happen to take me to the hospital and know my legal name when they were coming to pick me up or take me somewhere or have to fill out a piece of paper for me when my arm was broke. I have told them time and time again, I don't use that name. I don't go by that name. In my everyday life, I don't use my legal name. Haven't since 2008. Now, there was a brief period of time when I was in a halfway house where I didn't press the issue too much. For like 9 months back years ago when I first ended up in North Carolina and after I went to rehab, at that halfway house, people called me by my legal name. I didn't really put up too much of a fuss. The people that understood me and I got to know on a different level would call me Gray Cloud or Cloud or whatever. Everybody in that town, once I got out of that halfway house and I was roaming the streets, that's how I introduced myself. Gray Cloud, Mr. Cloud, at that time it was Gray Cloud, the gift-giving scribe. And I was doing a lot of gift giving. Just random gifts of just weird, kooky, fun stuff. Not weird, like in a bad way, but just, walking up to strangers on the street and giving them a Hot Wheels car. I had a bag of cars I used to carry around. I'd collect Hot Wheels and open them up and have a big bag of cars. And I'd walk around. I'd walk up to somebody new and I'd be like, hey, I'd be trying to give them a positive message, whatever. And if we're talking, I'd be like, you know what? I'd reach into my bag and as I'm pulling out a car, I'd say, if you were a car, if you were a vehicle, this is the type of vehicle you would be. I always tried to have fun ways of passing on either information or just little gifts, like I said. Another thing I used to do was, and I wish I lived somewhere where I could get back into this, where I could walk into a little town square and hang out for a few hours and walk around, see the kids, see the teenagers, meet the older people, all the different people, and just, just get to know the community better. But I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and, it's like everything's a little bit, a few miles away and apart, and the towns that I am in between doesn't have an actual center of the town. It's like you drive through the road and, half a mile of businesses, and that's about it. If it's even a half a mile, I don't know. But another cool thing, since I'm talking about it, and I'm just going to let this video roll with it, I used to do it. I had this apron I'd wear around, and in Morganton, North Carolina, every Friday, in the summertime, they have bands on the square, and they'd have like concessions and all that kinds of stuff. So everybody's up there usually, young, old, middle-aged, all that. But in my apron, I would keep certain gifts and stuff, things that they didn't cost a lot of money, that I could easily pick up for $1, $2, $3, something like that. But anyway, I'd get big bags of marbles, and I'd open them bags of marbles up and put them in my apron. And I'd walk around, and I'd ask people or I'd make jokes, there was a group of kids that didn't know how to take me. They thought it was the funniest thing. But I remember asking them, "Hey, did y'all lose some marbles?" And they couldn't figure out what I was talking about. And then one day I said, it was the same group of kids that every Friday they want to come up to me and be like, "You got any marbles? Got any marbles?" After the initial encounter. The first encounter was like, they didn't know what the heck I was talking about. They didn't quite get the joke. And I remember setting some marbles down on the sidewalk and said, "Well, if y'all need any marbles, if y'all lose any of your marbles, if you lose some of your marbles up here, I'm going to leave these right here and y'all can get them." And walked away. And then it created like a pattern, like I said, every week when those group of kids, or even just a few of them, it wasn't always the same big bunch, but a few of them were always the same, and they would look for me every week and, "Oh, there's the marble guy," and, just kind of, and I don't know. It felt good to be known in the community. Everybody knew me as Gray Cloud. The cops knew me, the drug dealers knew me, the homeless people knew me, the people with apartments and houses knew me, rich people knew me, business owners knew me. It's like, that was the one thing I did like about Morganton, North Carolina. I said I was going to move back there, but God has had me put here for 4.5 years now almost. And a couple of years ago, I just kind of stopped trying to think so hard about where else I could go. Because I was told, stay put where you're at. I got something for you. I got a reason for you to be exactly where you're at in Alabama. And things are starting to unfold. It's kind of a good feeling. I hope one day, if you don't know why you're here, one day you get to find out why you're here and start living your mission. Till next time, Mr. Cloud says the eternal moment, over and out. It's going to be a good day. Even if I got started late. Ditto.